All right, well, thank you guys for coming out on this fine Sunday for this game showcase. My name is Giselle. I will be your host for tonight. I was your host in the beginning, so I'm excited to see what we have out. So we'll just do a little bit of a recap of why we're here, and then we'll get to see some games, talk to some devs. But let's see. All right, so if you weren't aware, this is the ninth jam of the Culture Bytes series. Culture Bytes, the ongoing series of games that are organized by Melanated Game Kitchen, which I'm happy to be a part of. Each jam consists of different themes, and it's meant to create unique experiences under the context of the African diaspora. Over the next 2 weeks, as you guys have just finished out, the focus is for us to figure out and create something given an extended amount of time. So we are all here today to see everybody's work, what they've cultivated these past weeks, all around the game theme, which is Winds of Change. So the idea was to create a game that explores the concepts of change and transition, out with the old, in with the new. I really like the life motto, change is the only constant in life. Like, I personally really love the embodiment of that. So this was a cool theme for me personally, so I'm excited to see. So yeah, any of the change things that we're having, I'm really excited to see how that was implemented, because in addition to that, we had the theme ingredients, and I'm excited to see paprika, if anyone did something with that, making your game spicy and whatnot. But obviously, in junction with Winds of Change, our main food dish for this one was AJ's famous fried chicken, or any unique takes that you had on that. And I think that's really interesting, because I remember having conversation about like having some, I think it was vegan inspired chicken or something like that, or just like different alternatives on the traditional. So seeing what type of spin people put on that would also be cool. But continuing on with the theme ingredients, black pepper. This one was kind of outlining very simple game mechanics. So either you have one screen and it's just the entire game takes place there, or you have a very simple one button mechanic, or just a very basic, like I kind of think Pong when I think of that ingredient. And then honey increases the sweetness of your game, focusing on aesthetics. And personally, as a UI programmer, I also like this one because it tends to mean nice, bubbly UI, and excited to see if anyone chose that. And then lastly, Old Bay finish line, just picking up those old projects. Just before all you guys all hopped on, like, I have put off doing something for weeks, and today was finally the day. So I'd also be excited because I think I heard some talks of some old projects getting dusted off for us to talk about here today. So those were our ingredients, and you guys had 2 weeks to figure it out, and we are all here to see everything that you guys have created. So without further ado, we can transition into the first game, which I believe is 1 Year of Frost and their team. So we'll kind of have a structure of talking a little bit about the team. They'll introduce themselves here, and then we'll show a bit of gameplay and talk about it. And then we'll have a little post interview with the developers, kind of seeing what their thoughts were throughout the process, and a little bit about how it went. So without further ado, the team, 1 Year of Frost.
Let me pull up the page for today. Also, everybody, Timothy here. I'll be your co-host with Giselle, helping with the stream today, and going through some of the recipes, food stuff, and also showing some of these games. We've got some videos prepared, so we'll go through this and see what we got.
Yeah, Tim is wearing many hats for us today. Thank you much for it.
Okay, so 1 Year of Frost. Let me see. We got a little something about it on the itch page.
Fun.
1 Year of Frost is the situation is the planet was taken over by the Frost Nomads, a race of giants that invade a planet to remove all of their resources. Fortunately, underground bunkers were built to save humanity before their arrival. Not everyone has made it, though. Survive for a year under these strange weather conditions while attempting to rescue any humans you see left out in the cold. This is a mobile game where it's based on simple controls of just using your thumb for the controls, and you interact with different items and people and objects to do things with them. And yeah, we'll jump into the gameplay real quick. Also, I believe this was developed by Mr. Troy as one of his, I think, first mobile game that he's worked on. So this is kind of interesting.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah. I'll go on mute while we do this.
And yeah, if Troy, if you want to say a few words or introduce yourself or talk about it while we're watching some of the gameplay, please feel free. Ooh, yeah, I already heard a little bit of this background music, but very soothing stuff.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So this was an interesting experiment for me. The game plays in portrait mode, not landscape, and it has a single finger control. So you just put your thumb on the screen and you move around that way. Once you stop moving, if you're standing in front of something, you immediately start going to work on it. I do assure everybody there are enemies in the game. They just spawn really far away from the base the first week, just to make the game actually playable and easy. The weeks are like 3 or 4 days, and at the end of the week, off screen, one of the giants comes and removes the base and puts it into a new area. So everything that you saw is going to respawn. And so if you don't rescue someone, they're not going to be in the same exact place that they were when you last saw them. The guy that I was just talking to tells you exactly where you need to go for the next thing, which would be someone who's out frozen in the snow, or the blueprints for other things for you to build.
Okay. So is it more like a survival kind of game of sorts?
Yes.
Okay. That's cool.
It's a little difficult to make a survival game that requires a lot of balancing.
Right.
In a short period of time. I was going to make the game very, very punishing, and that kind of turns people off of playing my games. So that's why it's safe to walk around at night.
Personally, as a cozy gamer myself, I appreciate the easy mode. But yeah, it looks so cute.
There's currently only one way to lose at the game, and that's if you're not in the base at the end of the week. You get left behind.
Okay. I see. So this is the base that we saw right there at the end of the video?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, awesome. I guess I'm just going to ask you a few more questions about the game as you're walking us through, but how did you, I guess we'll start with how did you come up with this idea for surrounding the theme and just creating a survival game in general for this jam? Hey.
It started because I've been playing a lot of mobile games just on whim, and I started playing games that are very, very ad heavy. And a few of the ads had a very specific play mechanic of use a thumbstick or use your thumb to move to an area and interact with stuff just by standing in that spot. And I said, I wonder if I can make a long form game that plays that way. So this was my attempt at it. I've been noodling around a lot with a really cute aesthetic. So I started trying to make something that looks like Animal Crossing, but not Animal Crossing. I'm trying to remember the Long Winter, I think the game is called.
Long Winter, yeah.
I was inspired by that as well. I was going to put guns in the game, but time ran out. So right now there's no way to kill the enemies, but there are enemies. They will mess you up, and if they kill you while you're not in base, you spawn back in base, but a long period of time goes by. So you have to be really careful not to get knocked out on that last day before the frost giant moves the base around.
Gotcha. So the main goal is to like gather enough resources or just keep yourself safe before the move at the end of the week.
Yes.
Okay.
The end goal was going to be you have to keep getting resources in order to power some machine that's going to be available in one of the later weeks. And time.
Of course. 2 weeks is, you always think that you have more time than you do. I feel you on that.
This game was super ambitious for me. I kept basing everything off of how long it took for me to do my last game, and I didn't think about it until the last minute, but I had half as much time as I had with my last game, so all the features that I had planned and I thought I would be able to get done, I just didn't have the time to do it.
Yeah, but I feel you. It sounds like it was a lot of fun, actually. Like, what for you is like the best part of having made this?
This is really goofy, but it was every day taking small videos and putting them on the Discord and seeing people react to it. Y'all don't realize that really made my night. It feels like someone's actually watching me develop, and that's a good feeling.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad the MGK community was interacting like that. That's so engageful. I really appreciate hearing that. That warms me.
That was partially me. I mean, it was nice to see the updates as you were building, because I think it's generally kind of hard to remember to update about something that as you're working on it, but it's like journaling a little bit, right? Like you're just trying to like put a pin in it, and then
I was kind of hoping that anyone else who was developing something, they would kind of get inspired to follow the same, so I don't feel like I'm working by myself. Like I'm really big on game jam community, so like all of us working together, just kind of like they're just rooting each other on and such.
True.
I just wanted to point out a few things that didn't make it in the game. Someone had asked about it. So there's, towards the later part of the game, there's a hunter that you can find, and he's supposed to replenish the amount of food that you have in the base, because there's a hunger meter and you can eventually starve to death. And one of the game overs was going to be if you didn't have enough food to support everybody in the base at the same time. That didn't make it in. There's a gold system where you collect gold and you're supposed to buy things, but that didn't make it in. I also wanted to have mini games that you would play, because between the hours of like 2100 and 500, it's dark out, so you need something to do just to kill time, and going to sleep was just it felt wrong. Like it was bad enough that when the hunger meter was going too fast, I would go to sleep and have sleep for dinner. So that's one of the things that I removed from the game, because your hunger meter was supposed to automatically go up when you went to sleep, and I was like, that's kind of morbid.
Well, do you plan on like adding those features in the future at all, or expanding on this project? Or
as soon as we're done on this call, I'm getting right back to it.
Awesome.
I will leave up this current version so that people can see where it started, and I'm just going to create a new itch page that's going to be the definitive version of the game, so that way I can continue to add on as people make suggestions.
Awesome.
Well, now you can keep adding to the itch page. It's open. I mean, once you make it, you make it.
Yeah, it's that thing. Whenever I make a game jam game, it has to be that jam version that people can always go back to and see.
That's good.
It's like saving a moment in time. I see. Well.
Well, yeah, I want to bring in our theme here a little bit too. I see that there's weather in there, so I was wondering how did the theme kind of get incorporated in there with it being winds of change and the whole African diaspora focus. I'm only guessing here, but was the weather a factor of that, or was that a coincidence?
That was the original factor, and then someone said, but what's changing? And I'm like, okay, I need something to change. And that's why it has that roguelite element where the world around you changes once a week.
Right.
And just in case anyone's playing it now, that when you first start the game, there's someone laying there in the snow. If you don't rescue them in the first week, they get teleported somewhere else, so it's harder to find them.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Don't be mean, just save that person. I'm trying to remember there was one specifically that I focused on, and I think it was black pepper, but I'm trying to remember what black pepper was.
Yes, I can share again. So black pepper definitely was the simple game mechanic. So sometimes simple is best. So using only one button, which I like. I think you incorporated fairly well with the walking pad, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's super simple mechanic for people to understand. They know exactly intuitively where to go. I think especially like I know me, like that would be such a perfect mobile game for when I'm falling asleep and my brain cells are shutting down. It's just, okay, we're going this and this way, and you don't have to think too hard. I feel like it's really got a cozy game feel, and I love the way that it looks so low poly, and like you were saying, it's very Animal Crossing inspired. If you can't tell from the color scheme, I also really enjoy Animal Crossing. So to me, it was such a cute, and I think I saw people saying in the chat as well, just such a cute game. The sound and the ambiance were really amazing. But yeah, I definitely saw the simple mechanic and how you explained it in the beginning. It's wonderful.
Agreed. That was a good choice. And that makes me think about some of the discussions that we had leading up to the jam as well. We talked about the two differences between games that have you adapt to your environment and then games where the environment like adapts almost to you. Like there's different ways to kind of explore that kind of change dynamic, and so the usual is like, how do you adapt to the way your environment is changing around you, and deal with the things out of your control, right? So it's always an interesting thing to think about for these survival games. Like it puts you in those shoes.
Yeah. Well, I think like contrary to the super fun parts of it, what do you think was like the hardest? I also see people asking in the chat, like, how did you manage your time too? So I kind of wanted to tack that in there. But what was the hardest thing?
The world is never on fire unless I'm developing a game. Everyone calls me, like I have people who came in from out of town, and I'm like, I haven't seen you in years, so I can't just not. I get kind of insane when I do game jams though. So I have to make sure that I do make an actual schedule for myself. I tried to make sure that I was available in case anyone needed any help after 5:30 Pacific time. But I tend to work from the moment that I wake up till the moment that I go to sleep. And that is not a good way for everybody to develop, but that's kind of what I do. But it gives me certain abilities that I don't know how else to put this. I've been up since 5 and I went to bed at 2. So
No.
I'm going to ramble sandwich a little bit as I try to put my thoughts together. I realized, like, when there was less than 3 hours left, that I didn't have any music in the game. So I had to quickly, like, stop using my main computer and go to my audio system and start trying to put something together. I think I did a good job with the music? If I did, someone like just give me the thumbs up.
No, yes, it was very calming. It was very calming, and it was very chill vibes.
Evan said Interstellar was the reminder they gave up.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The other thing, and I was having a private conversation with Tim about this, is I have trouble working in groups because of my like always wanting to be working. And sometimes when I work on a team, it makes other people feel like they have to work that same way. And I never want people to feel that way. Like everybody needs to work at their own pace. So I tend to work alone because I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. I don't know if that makes sense. Or like I said, I'm just going to keep rambling.
No, that makes complete sense. I understand what you're saying. It's just sometimes developer styles are different, like, being locked in sometimes, and not everyone is that. But for sure, I definitely think that your game was so amazing. Before we have to move on to the next game, if you had to expand and sell your game to a studio, what studio would you ship to, if you have an answer for that? Or just a general plan?
I honestly don't know. And my quick answer was going to be Voodoo, because they made this game called Mob Control that I'm addicted to. And Mob Control is the start of this mobile game addiction that I have now, because I started playing it, all the ads that popped up, I would say, hey, I want to try that game, and then I would download it. But yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Troy. Your game was such a delight. Thank you for kicking us off here. Please go check it out. We will have all the links in the Discord. I am also assuming they're up on the itch page as well. So if you guys want to go play these games after, please interact. It sounds like there's great plans for potential expansion. So follow the developer's journey. And thank you guys for supporting. I don't know, that just warmed my heart to hear that everyone is interacting and excited. So, but yeah, thank you so much. And without further ado, we will transition on to our next game.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you so much, Troy. And our next game, I believe we have.
Oh, Giselle, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Actually, Tim has his recipes. Yes, please. I'm excited. You got some fun facts for us today.
Fun facts in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I was trying to think of a better way to display this information without showing certain details. Hold on. Do that again real quick. Turn my audio off. There we go. Okay, that should be better.
Perfect.
No echo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did gather a couple recipes in preparation for the jam and throughout for people to reference and pick up on. One of the main ones that I had come across that was a bit of an inspiration for things, talking about winds of change and talking about modern takes on fried chicken dishes, is this kind of no oil fried chicken situation. And so is a odd idea to think about, like you always deep fry your fried chicken most of the time to get that crispy, crunchy texture. And for certain types, you still have to in order to get certain things, but you still want to get that crunchy chicken. It's still possible without having to use as much oil in a more healthy way. And so this is one of the recipes that I have found. Pam's Place, if you look her up on YouTube, you'll find this recipe to reference and kind of see how she does it. But it's an interesting about science to it of using the chicken's fat and using that as a baseline and cooking it a certain kind of way on your skillet where you can still get that crispy, crunchy texture that you want from your fried chicken. So a little interesting thing to try out if you have some of the tools available to do so. And I'll save the next one for after our next interview.
That's awesome. I'm really interested in the science behind the chicken fat and like how that works or affects the recipe at all. That would be interesting to look into.
Right? Not something I thought
Yeah.
about much. You know?
Yeah. I didn't even think like that didn't even occur to me.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, Tim. We'll be
You're
awaiting.
welcome.
And we have our next team, Shoes Dollar. Am I saying that correct?
That's the name of the game, Shoes Dollar.
Shoes Dollar.
Quick synopsis that I have on this one so far. As a deity of wind and skies, you have been tasked with collecting change. Good luck. I'm wondering what change means in this context. So
Yeah. Interesting.
that's an interesting idea. All the details I have so far, and let's pull up the video and see what's up.
And I believe
this-
Evan is the developer for this game.
Yes, Evan's the developer.
Awesome,
Well,
awesome.
give them a chance to chat while we show the video.
For sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. It's been a while since I've been on Zoom. So this is my first Game Jam game. I really appreciate y'all having me on here. This game was made in the past 2 weeks. I took the theme and just kind of went literal with it. We had a few ideas on the list. I talked to a few of my friends and they helped me put an idea together. So as you can see here, we have a little dialogue going where it's just straight exposition. Here's what's going on. Now the game itself is just a platformer where you're collecting change. So you can see change up. You see the change on the screen, how much money you are collecting, and it's all because at the beginning you're asked for $1.
That's awesome.
And a few more things to kind of go with the theme. Your name is Shu. You might already know that is the Egyptology deity of wind. That's where the name came from. What else here? So that building that the character just jumped off of was also a building that, I don't know if anybody's into architecture. It's the formerly known as the Sears Tower.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what that building was based off, so that I could place the setting here in Chicago, making it the Windy City.
Oh, that's super clever. I love a double entendre with that. That's awesome. I think that's cool. I think I saw it in the chat. Like, this guy's moving, dude. Like, the animations are really fun to watch him just flip around.
Thank you so much. They were actually stand-in animations. I was hoping to get fully drawn characters into this game, and so I kind of drew those up just to play around with.
Yeah, they look amazing, and the music, it's giving parkour. If anyone remembers, like the planking trend, but like just perfectly paced.
Oh yeah, thank you. That was pretty much the idea here. This is the first game that I wouldn't fully call it completed, but you know, we start a lot of projects and we don't finish them, and I use this game jam to really push that, and I just appreciate having the opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, welcome on screen. I thought that was amazing. I was also going to comment, I think I saw it in the chat, the end screen where you're jumping on the words. amazing touch. I think just having that mechanic continue into the end credits was really awesome. So I genuinely love that. I've been seeing people comment on this, but yeah, I'll start off like,
That's
how did
true.
you come up with this idea and like overall concept? I mean, I love it's simple. It's you're collecting change for $1.
Yeah, so started off, I had a whole list. I was gonna brainstorm it, figure out what does change mean. Unfortunately, I missed the the discussion for the topic, and so I just took the title and kind of ran with it. And so I thought, um, well, I had a few things on the list, and then when I talked to some of my friends, they wanted to help me out with the game. And so one of the ideas was to have a person who can kind of control the wind, and he kind of moves around on the wind as a platformer. And so that's where it started, and it was going to have a bit more lore to it. But as I saw that I'm not very well seasoned in game development, it's like without a lot of time, let me back up to one of my earlier ideas where I'm just actually collecting change in the wind. So that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just the concept of actually being in the Windy City, doing windy activities is funny to me. I think that's just very comedic. Um,
I agree.
Also, congrats on your first Game Jam game. Like, I just
Oh,
want to like
thank
take a
you.
minute.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Welcome to the community. Hopefully, you're addicted and you stay with us if you
And
like
it
it.
I
works. It's playable. The character moves around pretty solid, it seems like.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun to play with. I think my first thought when getting into this game jam was I do not want to make a platformer because I don't want to deal with physics. But then talking to my friends, I was like, this is the idea we have. Here we go. So,
Nice, nice. That's awesome. Well, what for you, I'm assuming, was like the most fun parts of creating this the past 2 weeks?
oh, the most fun. I think the most fun for me was probably the animations. That like I had a little bit of work before in animation, not official work, just messing around with drawing and playing around with sprites, editing sprites, and so making something that actually looked like I wanted to look the first time just was it was amazing to me. I was like, okay, this actually looks like what I was thinking. So that was a lot of fun.
Awesome,
Also,
awesome.
making the song, like I've never like made a song before, so I was looking into some of the resources that were given, and there was this program that was up on Itch, and was like, yeah, try this out. I was like, okay, well, I need a song. Let me, let me throw something together, and so put a few tracks in, and it also came out with something that sounded all right for me. There's a lot of mixing and different audio things that I do not understand that I would need to get into to really make something that I could put on a disc. But what I had there was it was fun to listen to for a
That's
moment.
awesome.
After a while, it kind of gets really annoying.
That's
That's
really cool.
awesome.
Like knowing you made that from scratch, like I am by no means an audio engineer, so all of that stuff is way above my head, but like it sounded
Oh,
awesome to me,
same.
like very arcade based. Like I felt like I was like just playing a little arcade game. Like you did an amazing job on the music too. So congrats on that.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. It's nice to know that those resources came in handy for some folks to make something quick. That's why
Oh
that's why
yeah,
we
yes,
provide them.
thank you so much for the resources. I was digging through all all of the media there.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Also, a comment that Sai had mentioned. It's very mindful, very mirror's edge for the game.
That's good. That's
Oh,
so
thank you.
good.
Mirror's Edge is a big inspiration because I used to do parkour. My friends, knees catch up with you, and it's, still try to get out there. It's a lot of fun, but
Real talk.
That's
I'm with
awesome.
you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That is very cool. Well, you've already touched a little bit more on the game kind of surrounding Winds of Change, but is there any more specific ingredients that you feel like you weaseled into for this game? If you don't remember them, I can also recite, but um, was there any inspo taken away from our special ingredients?
Well, I wanted to keep it really simple. Like black pepper really got into my mind. I was like, don't do anything crazy your first game. So I really thought about that a bit. But I wanted something cute and cozy. I just personally wasn't gonna be able to pull off the art for it, but I did think about that a lot. So honey was in there. Well, the thought was in there.
Awesome, awesome. And I think I kind of heard that Old Bay kind of seems to have snuck in there because I think you were saying you had some of the bits and pieces of the animation prior that kind of made its way into the project, but I could be wrong on that.
Oh no, well I'm from Maryland, so I love Old Bay, but I didn't have anything else created before I started the project.
Okay.
It was just boxes, and then I was like, I need to look at something jumping. So we started drawing.
Cool, cool, cool.
That's dope.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
do you have any thoughts on like expanding the game at all or adding to this or anything? I know it's your first game jam, but um, what do you think for your first project?
I mean, honestly, I'm just glad to be able to do it. I think I'm gonna move on to other projects, and this is fun, and I might come back to, playing around with platformers. There were probably 3 or 4 mechanics I wanted to implement in here that just didn't have time to pull it off the way I liked it to be. So I probably won't continue this particular game, but I'll always have it. So that's nice.
Awesome,
Okay.
awesome.
Okay.
Very cool. Very cool.
One thing I wanted to, I don't think we mentioned it before, but you made this in Godot, and we haven't had many game entries that were made with Godot. And for your first game jam, to choose Godot over one of the other engines as an option was a deliberate choice. So, any comments about your experience using the engine and how that has been to get to this point?
Oh, Godot made it a lot simpler because it's got a really simple scripting mechanics, and I understood the nodes once I really took time to get what their structure was. Because I started out with Unity a long time ago, then RPG Maker and Game Maker, Visual Novel Maker, a bunch of different engines, and coming back to Godot, and then the 4.0 version, I think it made it a lot simpler for me, but it was also a learning experience because I'd never exported the game, like built it into a playable version. And that's usually something that is a little iffy for me because I can't write a compiler or anything. So Godot made it a good choice. Especially I hear a lot that it's a good beginner engine, and so I was kind of testing that out a bit. Is this a great beginner engine?
That's so cool. Yeah, I love Godot. It's open source, so many people like add to the community and have all these shortcuts and the full customization that you can do with it. So I'm happy to see it like picking up popularity with like beginner developers and stuff too, because I think at first it was a little rough around the edges, but now to see a lot of stuff come out of there, I'm really happy. So that's awesome. That's super cool.
Oh yeah, I hope it gets better as well, because there's a lot of support for it. Of course,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different things being said about the creation of it, but it being open source is really cool. Like I use the add-on, the Dialogic add-on, to do the dialogue at the beginning, and so that was kind of drop in and just work it, and it worked pretty well. So I'm very interested in what other add-ons could help make making parts of the game easier.
That's
Right.
super cool. That's super cool. I'll kind of piggyback off of that Godot discussion. And for example, what do you find that maybe needs improvement in the gaming experiments, or just like what was more challenging potentially in your creation of the game using Godot?
I think some of it is just not having enough experience myself, but trying to figure out like game resolution in Godot and in a project setting. Some of it's kind of early. They're still changing like how to build an HTML version of the game, or how to make sure it's compatible with different operating systems. That was still a bit new to me, but I also had some of those issues in Unity. I think for Godot, there are just a few user interface things that are kind of they're kind of annoying. They're not really game breaking. I wouldn't say this is just too cumbersome to hack, but they were just in the way when you're trying to do something that should be simple.
Right. Right. Well, that's cool. I'm gonna have to check out that plugin for myself, to be honest, because any plugins for Godot are super helpful. But if it was just a plug and play, I might ping you for some info on that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your game and your experience, and congrats on completing your first game jam.
Congrats,
Give another
Evan.
round of applause. Congrats.
Thank you.
And thank you for spending some time to talk to us about it. I learned some new stuff for my Godot developing, so I think that was really, really awesome. So thank you. We'll let you sink back into the crowd now, but please go check out Shoes Dollar, everybody. We will definitely, I think we have links up on the itch page as well as in the Discord. Please go check it out. Go collect some change. And without further ado, I will pass it to Tim for our next fun fact and recipe.
That's right. Yeah, that was good. So let's see what we got this time. I think you mentioned this one earlier during the intro, so I'll show this one because I've actually used similar types of recipes to this in particular. So it's is a good one. The vegan, the vegan dish. This is for the recipe for vegan chicken fried mushroom steak. And yeah, right. Mushrooms are a common replacement that's going to be used to get that kind of chicken texture, especially if you're using like a lion's mane or oyster mushroom. It's got a lot more thickness to it. You can still kind of get it to a consistency that kind of feels like you're eating kind of like, meat if you're, clever with it. This one involves a normal process of flouring, using your egg, creating like a proper fried batter essentially, and adding it to, you don't have to deep fry it per se. You can still cook this in a skillet, cast iron pan with just a lot of oil. But this can kind of get you a really nice textured mushroom steak. I've tried a couple of similar ones to this one in the past, using lion's mane or using the giant, like really big oyster mushrooms, and the texture can be really good. So I would recommend, if anyone's ever been curious about trying out doing like a vegan type of dish, or just like a plant-based meal that's going to still have some kick to it, or still has some of that crunch. This is a good one to start with. Wicked Kitchen is the name where this recipe is from. They do a lot of other kind of plant-based dishes to try to basically get like an intermediary between non-plant-based and plant-based, and find somewhere in between. So they do a good job with their different recipes and options. So definitely check this one out.
Awesome. I've always been curious about like lion's mane. Like I've always wanted to grow it, and everyone says that the texture is very similar. So I'm very interested in trying stuff like that. I just have not ever attempted, but like,
yeah,
maybe this one.
Maybe it's a starter. That's the key part. Yeah. But that's all the ones I got.
Okay. That's pretty good. I would say both were pretty good suggestions. Like I genuinely feel like mushrooms in general are just like a very interesting avenue that I haven't gone down, but I've always seen those videos on TikTok of people doing like the speed up grow of all the like very, very
True.
large mushrooms. So sounds fun. I don't know, Tim, if you have, I think you said that was your last recipe. If you don't have anything else to share with us, I have a question I
Yeah,
wanted to ask everyone.
that's pretty much it. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here today. Before I let you guys all go, I wanted to know like Melanated Game Kitchen, they always do a jam every month or two, and I wanted to see if any of you guys are going to join the next one or have any plans to. I think it's, yeah, about every 2 months they do another one, whether it be this length or longer. I feel like I've always hosted these, but next time I think I want to convince my friends to join up for the next jam and actually partake. But what are you guys looking forward to? You can drop it in chat, or if you plan to do it, or if you plan to take a break and whatnot. But I know for me, I definitely have a bunch of stuff, or at least more free time coming up in the holiday season. So I'm hoping to maybe get back into some creative endeavors. But if you guys are interested, um, honestly, like always do it. I think it's so fun to, get on here and see everybody's projects come to life. And just like a space to actually create. And that's why I really enjoy hosting for Melanated Game Kitchen because the collective is so supportive. Like everyone in the chat here today has been so kind and just amazingly excited for everybody. Um, but I think it's really interesting to see it all come together, especially centering around such culture and the foods and stuff that we pick. So thank you guys for making some amazing content to get to share. So congrats to all the jammers, the gamers, the teams. It looks amazing, and I'm just happy to be part of like the beginning and the end aspect of seeing what you guys all come up with. So thank you so much for being here. You can find all of these things linked, I believe, in the Melanated Game Kitchen server, as well as the jam page of the Culture Bytes series. Please tune in for next time. We definitely have plenty more events, I think, also coming up within the server, which I'm sure you guys know. And please send the food recs. I am like dying. I still think about the conversation we had on the opening when we were talking about, I think Tim had just gotten Korean fried chicken, and I've been thinking about wanting to go to that place for a while. So I need the food recommendations, guys.
That's
But
real.
thank you for chilling. Yeah, no, it's so real. But thank you for joining us. That's what we have for you for the showcase this time. Hopefully next time you'll see me in the host and the game developer slot doing the dual back and forth. But thanks for joining us on this wonderful Sunday. And thank you for all the support once again. You guys are awesome. And thank you, Tim, for being our all-in-one multitasker.
Thank you for your awesome hosting skills, Giselle. It's been a great session.